Good luck.
All right, that brings you up to date. Maramero, Paez, Jorge. Resplendent in blue trunks. Across the way in white, trimmed in blue, the WBA junior lightweight champion, whose title is not at stake here tonight. The only one of our bouts that is not a title affair. This is scheduled for 10, and that's Chicanito Hernandez, Genaro. And although he said yesterday, Rich, that there is no real pressure on him as far as fighting Paez is concerned, everybody knows that De La Hoya put him away in 2, and they constantly talk about he fighting De La Hoya, and I don't know but what he's got to prove a point in that regard tonight. What do you think?
Well, I don't know, because Tommy even mentioned the fact that the motivation for him was less in this fight, less than some this week, because of the fact that this is not a title fight. And so I don't think he's coming out here to try to better Oscar De La Hoya's knockout of Jorge Paez. That could be dangerous. And as you can see right, Paez could still be dangerous himself. And he got Hernandez's attention right there.
He did indeed. Hernandez came back with a right hand of his own. Paez, of course, giving away at 5'6", 5 inches in height. Although they each have the same reach at 71 inches.
Well, I think that's misleading, Tom, because of there's not much distance between the shoulders of Genaro Hernandez.
No.
He's got very long arms, and Paez does not. So I think certainly Hernandez still has the longer arms between the two. Now, he's starting off as he normally does, Tom, here, fighting at long range, beginning to put some heat into his punches here. Look at Paez. He's going to show him a lot of different looks here tonight, and a lot of strange boxing styles. The first thing he's trying to do is show him some really weird angles so that Hernandez is going to have trouble getting off in an orthodox fashion against him.
And of course, Hernandez in recent fights, including his last victory over Garcia down in Mexico City, literally is a one-handed fighter for most of his fights. He will throw that right hand, but it is often a painful thing for him. He says it feels better now than it has in a long time. But he's got such a great left hand and a great left hook that many times he can beat quality fighters with simply that one punch.
Well, he certainly did that with Jimmy Garcia in his last title defense.
And of course, a fight we saw some time back against Ibarro Perez at the Great Western Forum, why he hit Perez with the left hand to the liver that just flat knocked Perez right to the canvas face down. Devastating fight. So he's got great power. Despite his rail bird thinness, he's 131 pounds at 5'11".
And yet he said he expects to win by unanimous decision tonight.
Yes. That he's fully prepared for that eventuality.
Paez is taking headlong rushes at him, Tom, and there's a clash of heads, and Paez is busted open.
Yes. And Paez, I don't know who he's blaming, but he is the one head down, rushing like a small bull across the ring. And he's got a cut coming in the corner of the right eye, blood coming from that.
Remember, they go to the cards after just one round in California.
There's the bell, and that's the end of one, and a lot of blood coming.
If the fight had to be stopped right now, they would go to the scorecards. And the doctor's coming in. They're going to take a look at the cut.
Paez, head down, rushing across the ring, ends up with a cut in the corner of the right eye.
Keep on fighting, you win this round. Don't worry about the cuts.
He rushed right at him, Tom. The heads came together there. Hernandez was trying to back off, it looked like. Actually, Paez initiated what was the headbutt by his headlong rush into Hernandez. That's a deep cut, Tom, on Paez's head. And I don't know how long he's going to be able to go in this fight. We should mention, Tom, that he now has Nacho Beristain in his, actually Hernandez came off of the ropes and the two clashed heads. I thought it was from the initial rush, but after Hernandez came off the ropes, they clashed heads there.
Well, supposedly, Maramero has been in serious training for this fight. But he's quite serious about his career, thinking that 135 pounds when he lost to Pendleton, 135 when he lost to De La Hoya is not his best weight, and that he should be fighting as a super featherweight or a junior lightweight, and that's where he is tonight at 131. Although he's had a lot of fights in his career, he's only 29. And a little trickle of blood showing from the corner of the right eye where that cut occurred. Genaro Hernandez back against the ropes right above us, watching Maramero bounce up and down. Maramero throws a pretty good right hand.
I thought he fought a pretty good first round, Tom, and he's fighting well here at the start of the second round as well. Hernandez just laughs at him.
Blood coming from down the face of Paez again.
Look at those trucks on Paez. Those would have been big on Archie Moore.
Are you kidding? I think Moore, if memory serves correct, may have started that fashion trend in boxing. He would show up with black trunks, looked like he was headed for a formal dance. I tell you, they were just about ankle length. The old mongoose.
Paez is shaking his legs like Elvis.
Yeah. The fight fans who might be seeing Paez for the first time don't think that he's trying to lay any moves on Chiquinito Hernandez. They are really friends, and I don't think he's trying to demean the WBA junior lightweight champion. This is the way Paez fights. I mean, he's got all of those moves. He may do a series of jumping jacks for you right in the middle of a flurry. You never know.
And Hernandez really landed a terrific right hand in close in the flurry just moments before that really straightened Paez up.
Rich, there's a cut over the left eye of Paez. It looks like it's right up in the eyebrow. He's got blood from both eyes now. One in the corner of the right eye, the other in what appears to be just in the eyebrow above the left eye, and he keeps brushing away at it. Lands a couple of solid shots. Good uppercut by Paez. That Genaro Hernandez against the ropes. There's a smear of blood on Genaro Hernandez's face as well, whether it's from Paez or from a bloody nose. We'll have to wait and see, but there's really Paez's face now becoming a mask of crimson red, Rich.
Yeah, and it's smearing on Hernandez, too, to make it difficult to see if he has incurred any cut. That's a terrific right by Paez.
Paez, for all of his strange garb, outlandish at times, and his sometimes erratic behavior in the ring, can fight. He is a very fine fighter. When he's in shape, he's in shape. He may be overmatched, and oh boy, the blood is just pouring down the face of Jorge Paez.
Measure him with your jab, Genaro. Measure him with your jab. When you get in close, you stick those body shots. You got to go to the body. If he tries to block it, he'll block the first one, but the second one will go up the middle, okay? Up the middle. Try to land it in this section here. If you miss here, it'll go up, okay? But try going to the midsection with that left hook.
That's his brother Rudy who's doing the talking there, and the blood obviously didn't belong to Hernandez. Over at Paez's corner, I'm telling you, blood has really been flowing from that cut on the corner of his right eye. They're having a busy time over there. He's bleeding from both cuts above both eyes. He wants some water. Give him water.
Paez is right in this fight, though, Tom. If he can manage to continue to fight and not have the fight stopped because of cuts, he's right in there. He's landed several hard blows to Genaro Hernandez.
This is round number 3, scheduled for 10. This is a non-title affair. The champion is Genaro Hernandez, WBA junior lightweight king, undefeated. Good right hand by Paez. Genaro Hernandez, strangely enough, Rich, is content to sit against the ropes and let Paez come in and attack him.
Keep in mind something about Paez, Tom. He's lost 7 times, but you take a look at the list of people that he's lost to. You're looking at world champions. You're looking at Pernell Whitaker and Rafael Ruelas and Freddie Pendleton and Tony Lopez and Oscar De La Hoya.
That's right.
He doesn't get beat by run-of-the-mill fighters.
No.
And I'm not saying that Genaro Hernandez is. Hernandez is a world champion himself, but that's what it takes to beat this guy.
As Paez, you can't show Paez something he hasn't seen. I mean, he's like a guy who wears a belt and suspenders. This guy's seen it all. And we had him in his fight against Freddie Pendleton for the IBF title. And I was truly impressed by the seriousness with which he undertook that fight. Pendleton beat him, knocked him down twice. Paez got up on both occasions and fought a tough, courageous fight. I think he fights up to the competition, Rich, if that makes sense to you.
Yes, he's fought some great fights against tough competition, but it was his last fight that has been so much criticized, his effort or lack of against Oscar De La Hoya.
Yeah.
And he was hurt by the fan reaction.
That's right.
To it, and he's been very much stung by it, Tom, and I think he's coming out tonight with a real serious attitude because he wants to win the fans back, and he wants to erase that terrible memory of that disastrous effort against De La Hoya.
I don't know how much truth there is in it, but I heard that he was having a tough time even coming out of his house and being seen in his favored neighborhood haunts because people were really giving him a terrible time. Oh, that shot looked a little low from Genaro Hernandez, that left hand.
He's a good body puncher. Genaro, you rarely will see a guy as tall and lanky as Genaro Hernandez. Really, he's well known for his ability to punch to the body, but we've seen him knock a man out with a body shot.
Oh, yes. Genaro Hernandez in the white trunks that are smeared with blood. Most of it belongs to Jorge Paez, and again, that cut on the corner of the right eye opens up. Hernandez hits him with a right hand. Genaro at 5'11", fighting men that are 5'6", bending down. Paez, a tough, willing competitor, make no mistake about it.
The back and punch.
Everybody talks about unifying the
Yes.
junior lightweight crown. Genaro Hernandez, Gabriel Ruelas, then maybe on to fight Oscar De La Hoya. It's almost a steady conversation item when you talk about Hernandez. We go back in the corner with Romero.
Estás peleando a contragolpe y es peligroso para
You're fighting on the counter punch, and that's real dangerous for you.
Y le sacas ventajas.
You get advantage from him if you don't fight like that.
Aquí en la oreja una patada.
Don't worry about the cut.
Porque él pega fuerte y te paras ahí confiado en lo
He
tuyo.
punches hard and you stand right in front of him. Don't do that. That's why he's getting you with those punches on the cuts, because you stand in front of him.
¿Oíste?
Did you hear? Yes.
Está dando la sorpresa. No te metas con él a cambiar golpes porque él pega fuerte.
Don't exchange punches with him.
Muévete y cuando lo metas a las cuerdas lo
Wave and try to get him in the ropes.
¿Para qué te quedas parado, Jorge? Estás ganando la pelea.
All right, up they come for round 4. It is scheduled for 10. A pretty good opening 3 rounds so far, hasn't it?
Yeah, Tom, I gave that last round to Paez, so I've got him by a point. At the end of 3 rounds, he was getting instructions, by the way, from Nacho Beristain, and I think having put Beristain in his corner,
Been a big move for him.
very helpful for him.
Maybe it's too late in his career, I don't know, but only time will tell. I don't mean from an age standpoint, but, trying to find a spot to fight. He's been up and down the weight scale at 135, now at 131. He's a former featherweight champion, so whether at 29 he can get down to 126 or such, I don't know. He's elusive, isn't he? He's tough to
Oh,
hit.
man, I tell you, if he'd have been hit by that last left hook, it was good night.
He still has got considerable skills, make no mistake about it. He slips punches, and it seems almost effortless the way he'll move his head and slip what would be a good night Jorge shot. Scheduled for 10.
Trouble with fighting Hernandez, too, Tom, on top of everything else, and he is really skilled as a champion, is he can really take a punch. He's only been down once. That was as a prelim kid a long time ago in his career.
Yeah.
And has never been knocked down again.
And as he told us yesterday, that was after a night of Twinkies and a couple of hamburgers, etc.
Yeah, he kind of got kicked out of the house for the night.
That's right.
Went on the eating binge.
Yeah. Ended up flying up to Stockton. The guy knocked him down, almost knocked him out. A guy by the name of Lee, I think he told him.
Randy Lee.
Again, the blood flows freely from that cut on the corner of the right eye of Paez. Little peekaboo effect. Genaro Hernandez. Paez bobbing, weaving, making himself a still even smaller target than he ordinarily would be at 5'6". You notice the name Amanda across the trunks of Chiquinito Hernandez. That's the daughter. His daughter. Beautiful little girl.
Again, we we see blood near the left eye of Genaro Hernandez. Wondering still again, Tom, now is that his or Jorge Paez?
Well, we really won't know until they get in the corner and do a little mopping, but so far it has been the blood of Maramero Paez. Remember, 2 more exciting bouts to follow. WBA Featherweight Championship coming up, and that'll be Cobrita Gonzalez going against Louis the Sharpshooter Espinosa. Then the piece de resistance at 108 pounds, Chiquita Gonzalez. Is he the best in the world? Many people think he is, has been, will be for some time. He's against the Colombian, Zuniga. A dandy 4th round. I thought Paez fought quite well. Let's go to Fernando now. He's there with Louis the Sharpshooter Espinosa. Fernando Paramo, if you will, please.
Thank you, Tom. Louis, you have been here many times, but this must be something really special for you.
Yes, it is. It's an opportunity I've been waiting for a long time, and we're going to do the best to take advantage of it.
You were yelling when they were yelling here at a new champion. You seem to like that.
Yeah, that sounds real good to me, and that's what we're going to do.
Do you think that if you don't make it this time, it will be your last time?
I haven't even thought about that. I thought about just getting ready and getting the title.
All right, good luck. Back to you, Tom.
Thanks, Fernando. And thank you, Louis. Welcome back. You're looking at the inside of the pond, Arrowhead Pond in Anaheim, California. Magnificent, though. Brand new, state-of-the-art, gorgeous venue for the first ever boxing card, of course, held here, and a night of champions. Certainly hope wherever you might be, here, there, everywhere around the world, you're enjoying the action as they come out for the 5th round. Maramero Paez in the blue, in the white and blue, the WBA junior lightweight champ Genaro Hernandez. Neither man has been down. Paez suffered a cut in the corner of his right eye from a headbutt in round number 1. It appeared that in round number 2 he was cut in the right eyebrow. That has not been a factor. His corner's done pretty good work considering the size of that cut, even though it trickles blood even as we speak here in round number 5.
In the other corner, I noticed before the introductions that Chiquinito Hernandez had 9 cornermen, Tom. Do they all have assignments?
Yes, indeed. I bet they do. Well, the referee, Larry Rosadilla, cautioning Maramero Paez, get in here and fight. Quit clowning around. But the crowd loves him.
But, he really wanted to go back to a little clowning tonight. He felt that, he kind of almost tensed up against De La Hoya, came out, just went right at De La Hoya. There was none of his flamboyant stuff, no goofing around, nothing to throw the opponent off. Went right at De La Hoya, got clocked by that uppercut, and that was all she wrote. He said, I'm going back to my old style for this fight.
And of course, there's something to be said for it. Not only does the crowd expect it and get a big kick out of it, but it is disconcerting, I'm sure, to the guy he's fighting. But his mind might wander a bit, and he forgets for a moment or two about the business at hand. Genaro Hernandez, of course, troubled almost constantly by problems with his right hand. 3 operations on it, bone graft, they put a pin in it, took it out.
He had a corker of a right hand about 30 seconds ago, though, Tom. I want to see how fast he tries to come back with another one.
Good right hand by Paez. Hernandez lands a good right. Paez almost took a seat in about the 3rd rope down.
We've seen Paez do just about it all in the ring before, including jumping jacks against one opponent before him in the middle of the 8th round. Another time he kissed the ring, got off the stool, kissed the ring card girl as she was going around.
Between rounds, they're over telling him what to do. He got up off the stool, bust the ring card girl, sat back down, the crowd went crazy. And of course, it became almost standard operating procedure for him after every fight to do a backward flip, reminiscent of his days as a clown in the family circuit. I don't know about that circus anymore. He's not too enamored of it. There's the bell, and again the blood flows freely as we've come to the end of round number 5. There's Genaro Hernandez. We'll listen in.
You're all right, baby.
And then you drops his hands. He'll pull his head back, but the body stays. Concentrate on landing that right hand to the shoulders, okay? Yeah.
Rich had answered your question why there is a cut over the left eye of the champ.
Let's take a look at that corking right hand he threw. He tried to come up from the body, and then he threw that right hand that knocked Paez back a couple of steps. Paez was pulling away and took away some of the power of that punch by doing so. Went to the body first with the right and the left, and right over the top with the right hand. Genaro seemed to be picking it up in that round.
There was no mention of the right hand except a good right hand. They didn't say anything about how does it feel, is it sore, are you having a problem, or anything else. So maybe not talking about it means it A, doesn't hurt, or if it does hurt, we aren't going to recognize it as hurting. Just get on with the business at hand.
You know, these two guys have been so friendly. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, every time they're together, they're joking around, clowning around, laughing, and more than friendly. And you can see they're locked in a real fight here. I asked Paez about it. He said, hey, look, it's not a dog fight. It's a sport.
Yeah.
We're sportsmen.
That's right. Paez, perpetual motion, bouncing up and down, some parts of him moving at all times. Arms, legs, feet, head. Flurry of punches as he puts Hernandez up against the ropes. Not many of which were all that effective, but they are thrown, they do land, and in the eyes of judges, why they would be duly recorded. Boy, Hernandez looked as though he had a left hand just measured to put him out. Just did miss. Again, their heads come together, again a butt.
Happy's bleeding again. Looks like a new cut. They're going to have to call time. Larry Rosadillo will call in the ringside physician. It busted him open again. That's the third cut on the head of Jorge Paez.
Here they go.
He's going to let him go, but the blood is dripping into the eye, Tom.
Yeah.
There's the headbutt. Hernandez leaned into that one and seemed to initiate that headbutt.
Paez banging away to the body, and Hernandez not realizing that he had walked away, threw a punch, and there was nobody there.
That eye it's in an appalling state right now. That cut really looks bad. That's Henry Cooper-like stuff.
Chuck Wepner? The Bayonne bleeder? Huh? This is the sixth round. Busy exchange. Both bent toe-to-toe. Remember, Hernandez's title is not at stake in this one. Paez not ranked among the top 10 contenders in the WBA junior lightweight division.
That was a disappointment to both of them.
Paez, his face again becoming a bloody mask. Chopping left hand by Genaro Hernandez. He's got to cut himself. The eyebrow above the left eye. Aside from that, he's unmarked. Hernandez talks about fighting De La Hoya down the line somewhere at 135 pounds. De La Hoya would weigh 140 when they climbed in the ring, and I don't think Genaro Hernandez can put on 5 pounds if he ate from now till Tuesday evening.
Larry Rosadillo, the referee, stopped them right in the middle of actually nothing. They were at long range and just stopped them for a moment and asked Paez, are you okay?
Yeah. Handful of seconds, and there's the bell, bringing to a close round number 6. Will funnel Jorge back to his corner.
It's really looking bad for him now, though, Tom. They have 3 separate cuts to work on in that corner. And there's the doctor looking over the shoulder of the cornerman.
You tell me.
It's a couple more. A couple more. There it is again, Tom. Boy, there's really been a lot of clashes of heads. 3 times they've really come together hard in this fight.
You're winning the fight, but don't exchange punches with him. You're winning the fight. You have the advantage on him. When you change punches with him, he wins you. He speeches, so don't change with him.
Well,
There's only 5 rounds left, Jorge.
I'm going to go out on a limb and tell you they may stop it because of those cuts. He won't stop it. Paez will continue to fight. But if it'll be the doctors that'll stop it because of those cuts if it needs to stop.
Hit and make it miss. Don't just start clowning. Forget about the clown right now.
There's a longer time between rounds here in the state of California. When the doctor comes into the referee, into the ring between rounds, they call time and stop the clock just like they do in the middle of a round.
Yes. Up they come, round number 7. It's scheduled for 10. No title at stake, but it is an important bout nonetheless for both of these men. Hernandez, the WBA junior lightweight king. It's incumbent upon him, I'm sure, in his mind to put up a good showing tonight and not lose. He's undefeated as a professional, only 1 draw, and that was from strangely enough, a headbutt in a fight with Paez. That occurred about 35 or 40 seconds into the first round, and I tell you, blood gushed so badly from the top of the head of Paez that he went out of the ring immediately to the hospital to have it sewn up.
Got to work too.
That was inside 30 seconds.
Unbelievable. I mean, it looked like somebody had turned the water faucet upside down.
I actually don't think there was a punch landed in the fight.
No. Again, the face of Paez is a crimson mask.
They just can't stem the flow of blood in the corner.
Now Hernandez, razor thin. Wild flurry there. I don't think there was much substance to any of those punches. Do you, Rich?
I think that whatever damage was landed by Hernandez. But a lot of those punches, they were just flailing at each other's arms.
Pretty good left hand by Hernandez a moment ago that slowed Paez down.
Hernandez has looked at times in this round as though he wants to counterpunch. He's backing to the ropes and waiting there for Paez. Almost asking him to start and initiate the action, but here he's not waiting anymore for Paez.
That's a slip. Paez goes down. But it's obvious that the blood flowing down his face is really an item of major concern for him. It's both eyes now, especially the left eye, blood flowing on it, through it. It's got to hamper his vision. Cut on the corner of the right eye, flowing outside of the eye, fortunately. But it is messy. Down his cheek. Genaro Hernandez has a cut above his right eye in the eyebrow. Trying to corner Paez now. Seconds remain, coming to the close of round number 7.
Paez at this point, Tom, can only fight in spurts. He has to try to wait for that moment when he feels Hernandez get close to him, try to open up with a flurry.
Well, I think the crowd has a mixed reaction to this one. Both of these fighters are very popular.
Two more. Sorry, Doc. Two more. On the balls here, okay? Look. One more. One round, please. One round. Okay, one round. That's all you get. Okay, one round. Okay, good. That's all you get, and then it's over. Okay, one round.
Well, Mary Rosadie is telling him you get one more round. Isn't that right, Cecilia? Is somebody telling him?
That's right. They're asking him for the 2 left for 2 more rounds, and he's saying, no, that's it. I'm the boss here.
They're negotiating in the corner.
Yeah.
It's like a plea bargain.
Seems to be, yeah. That's right. Well, round number 8 is coming up.
So I suspect that Paez will give it everything he's got right now, Tom. Well, we've seen in the past, we've seen something like that when you hear it from a doctor. We heard the doctor tell James Toney that in his fight against Tim Littles last year, and he went out in the next round when he was told he had 1 round left and knocked him out.
His mouthpiece is in the corner. His mouthpiece is in the corner, on the floor.
It's on the floor.
It's on the floor. Larry, the mouthpiece is on the floor in the corner. Paez, somebody's mouthpiece. Paez has got his. I don't know whose it could be. I guess they've got a spare. Unbelievable. Extra mouthpiece. Huh?
Maybe the cornermen are wearing mouthpieces in the
Could
ring.
be. Could be. This is the 8th round. And as the blood continues to flow copiously now down the face of Genaro Hernandez, this may be, unless something untoward happens, the last round he'll be in action here. Boy, the blood is really flowing from that left hand.
Yeah, and he doesn't need a punch to open it up. They just don't, they can't stem the flow of blood.
But just the exertion of coming out and moving has caused the cut to open. He keeps brushing at it. Keeps trying to rub the blood away so he can see. He's a tough game little fighter, I'll say that for him.
He's actually fought a pretty good fight tonight, Tom, and in the first few rounds, really, when he was not bleeding the way he is and his vision being hampered by that blood, landed several good shots on Hernandez. Genaro is a guy who not only has never lost a fight, I mean, it's rare to see him lose a round.
Yes. Cautioned this time by Larry Rosadia. Genaro banging away with that right hand and throws a sizzling left to the body. Another left to the body.
A tremendous fight. You have a master boxer here against Gabriel Ellis, who's been, in his last couple of fights, beginning to look like a little Duran. So
unbelievable.
That would be a classic matchup, to be sure.
This is action in the 8th round. Right hand by Genaro after about 5 or 6 left jabs.
That was a very interesting punch by Genaro. It started out as a cross, and he turned it into an uppercut.
Yep. He's a tough fighter, this WBA junior lightweight champion. Street smart and tough. That's the end of it. And again, Romero's face continues to flow.
Fight is over, Tom. Larry Rosadia is already waving his arms no more. The fight is over.
Crowd is not all that pleased with it, but I don't know what they could have expected. I mean, I don't think Hernandez has not lost a fight in his career. He's been down once in his career. He is 31-0, now 32-0. He's really a very fine champion and an awfully good boxer. And I don't think Paez was going to A, knock him down, or B, knock him out. And I don't know as how Paez had anything to look forward to for the next round or two, but more pummeling and more blood flowing. So I don't think that while the crowd may have wanted Paez to continue, I don't know how they could have really expected him to turn this fight around. He's getting a nice round of applause, and deservedly so. He's a very tough, competitive little guy. But it would appear that punches and in some cases headbutts, but punches open up his face rather rapidly now, or easily now, and that is going to be a very major problem for him if and as he continues his career. And there's some talk that he might not. He might retire. Among other things, he said he was going to open up a disco in Fresno. And you talk to Romero, and he's got 100 things going. There's a backflip. Told you about that, didn't he? He's a great little guy. Make no mistake about it. He's a tough little fighter. And it could be that his career has found himself in the position where he cuts easily and nothing but problems. They're still working on him, although they have stopped the flow of blood for the most part. Jimmy Lennon Jr.'s got the official call. He's going to tell you when it was stopped here after the 8th round. Jimmy, if you will.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout has been stopped at the end of round number 8. The referee stops the contest. The winner by way of technical knockout and still undefeated, Genaro Chicanito Hernandez.
Well, Genaro Hernandez now goes to 32-0. His title was not at stake.